And we are back with another episode of me.com. How are you today? Awesome. So, here's the deal. Earlier today, I realized that I haven't told you guys who I am exactly. All you know is that my name is Matthew Holland. That's not good enough. We're supposed to be homies. So, today I'm going to do a little bit of a backstory. Where do we start? We're going to start at my first job. I originally was working at an animal hospital, kind of as an assistant, just here and there, making sure all the grunt work was done. I learned a lot there. It was really cool seeing how animals were fixed. I picked up a lot. At one point, I was able to name like any dog that anyone had anywhere because of the number of different species of dog that I saw come through there. I liked that job. The only difficult thing was that it was so far away from home. It was like an hour and a half away because I got it before I moved. And then after I moved, I couldn't do anything with that. So at that point, I was probably like 17, 18. So then I went away to college. And when I went to college, I studied electrical engineering. Originally, I chose electrical engineering because I heard the pay was good and I had a chip on my shoulder that I believe that I was actually good at technical things. It was true. I am good at technical things. It's just that there was so much theory. A ton of theory. Like, we never got to actually break a ton of stuff. In those classes that we did get to put our hands on kind of the stuff that we've been learning throughout the different years, I excelled in those courses. Like, all the lab courses, 10 out of 10. Like, I was in there doing the stuff. It was great. All of the math, calculus courses, and physics extra things, I did well enough to pass them, but I didn't feel solid in them. They weren't fun. It was. We'll put it that way. It was. I did what I had to do in those courses. We'll put it that way. I remember distinctly that there was a do or die moment where I was like, I don't know if I can actually make it through this because these physics courses started getting aggressive. Calc courses got even worse, and the electrical engineering courses actually got pretty difficult. That coupled with the fact that I love playing video games and now had a gaming computer in my dorm, I had to make a decision, and I did. So what I decided to do was that I had to get rid of all of my distractions by changing my sleep schedule. Very simple hack, very effective. It is what it is. So what I actually did was I would finish classes at like 6. I would eat something, knock out. I would wake up at about midnight or 1 a.m. and then do all of my homework, all of my studying, and anything else that I had to take care of up until my 8 a.m. And then rinse and repeat, and did that until I got through kind of that season of my life. I would say that was probably like my junior year, fall semester. That's what I had to do to get through it. Senior year was a breeze. The thing about college that I don't really understand is that you have to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life when you're still kind of like, you're not even old enough to drink yet. And you have to decide these things. So it's very difficult to have the foresight of what you want to do with the rest of your life when you still are fumbling around like discovering who you actually are. When I first went to college, I was excited. And then I discovered what it was that I was learning. And I was still kind of excited, but thought I couldn't back out. And then I had enough of it in my junior year and tried to back out. And there was like, no, you're too late. You're actually stuck now. And so I did what was required. So I had this great idea. I loved computers and I loved coding, but I did not like the electrical engineering side of things. So I changed it. I did all of my courses that were required, and in my own free time, I studied things like web development, how to use the Linux terminal, how to use Kali Linux, how to use Metasploit, how to like hack into Wi-Fi, like all of the hacker things that you see on TV shows, and you're like, that's pretty cool. I want to know how to do that. All those things. I taught myself how to do all those things, and through them, I met some kind of interesting characters in CS:GO. So I actually met one of my mentors on CS:GO because he actively had a cybersecurity role. Like, he was a senior, like a senior engineer or a senior analyst, something. But he was in cybersecurity. I think he was the CTO at one point, and then he moved and like started his own thing and was doing that kind of thing. Just a random encounter. Like, I was just talking to the team and he was just there. And I was like, yo, why don't we play again sometime? He was like, yeah, cool. And then some guys started talking about Linux in the next match. And I was like, Linux? you mean like Kali Linux? And he was like, what do you know about Kali Linux? And I was like, oh, buddy. So like we had a whole conversation. He helped me kind of hone in on exactly what it was that I had to study to get a job. If you're in the field and you're actually interested in it, look into the OWASP top 10. OWASP 10. They are the top 10 most dangerous vulnerabilities of a web application. If you know how to find them, if you know how to recognize them, know how to find them, and know how to resolve them, you'll get a job in cybersecurity. Them's the rules. So that's what he told me. And so I did. I kept going. And then I went to the career fair and I applied to as many cybersecurity roles as I could. A lot of the big names. I don't remember what the big names are right now because it's been years. But I didn't hear back from a bunch of them. I heard back from 3 of them. And my roommates were not too thrilled about it. Like they were happy for me, but also kind of like, how? Because again, I was going to college for electrical engineering, not for cybersecurity. I remember what he said exactly. I like told him that I was getting interviews, but I didn't get any job offers. And he looked at me in the eye and was like, at least you're getting interviews. And that's when I was like, shoot, he's right. That means I'm close. So I kept going, kept swinging for the fences, and I landed one interview and kind of put my foot in my mouth because I asked like a no question. I don't remember what the no question was, but like the guy like perked up and stared at me. And then he was drilling me down with all these technical questions. I didn't know how to answer them because self-taught. I don't know all of the technical things, like the technical names in the industry, but I know exactly how they are and what they do. So I remember in this interview, I was sitting there, I was like, I'm in a hole right now and I really need to get out of this hole. So the next question he asked like sparked my eyes and I was like, okay, I don't know how to tell you this, but I do know what you're talking about and here's how I'm just bear with me. He's like, okay, fine, what? I was like, so you know how this thing does that? He's like, yeah. And you know how that thing does this? He's like, yeah. Okay, so what? This thing does this and you need this to do that and that will make this happen and that will give you exactly what you're looking for. And he looked at me like I had 4 heads. And I was like, there goes another one. And then I was getting ready to get up and leave. And he was like, oh, shoot. By the way, here, take this with you. And I was like, what? Like, I'm 1 foot up already. Like, I already lost it. I don't really want to shake hands. I don't really want to look anymore. I'm like, I just want to go home and lay down. Like, I'm tired of this. Just wasted another, like, 2-4 hours. He's like, oh. And he reaches under the table on his side and pulls out a piece of paper. He's like, here, go online and apply anyway. And I was like, why would I apply? I'm right here. Why do you want me to apply again if I'm right here in front of you and I took the interview and you didn't give it to me? So whatever. So I took the piece of paper and I go home. And I get home and my roommates are like sitting there like, so how'd it go? I'm like, another one bites the dust. And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, I went there. I told him everything I just told you just now. I told them. And then he's like, wait, so they gave you a paper? And I was like, yeah. It's like, let me see the paper. And I give him the paper. And they're like, where was this paper when you were going through the interview? He had it on a chair next to him. Were they visible? No. No, they were not visible. No. Matt, you idiot. You got the job. I'm like, what do you? No, I didn't. He didn't say you got the job. He said, here, apply online. He's like, yeah, because they want to find you a second time and give you the job. So sure enough, they were right. That was kind of an idiot moment on my end. But I did get a job in cybersecurity without any type of background. The only thing that I knew was that my own ambition and studying habits actually landed me the job. So that was kind of a amazing moment for me personally. And then I got to the job. So I moved out. I moved to like Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. And I started working. And no one would tell me what to do. No one told me what I was supposed to be paying attention to. No one told me just about anything. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to sit here and do nothing. So I kind of found adjacent meetings and kind of like tried to find things, but everyone was like real stingy with their work and they wouldn't like actually help me. So I was like, all right, I mean, I'm getting paid anyway. So I spent a lot of time on YouTube and just kind of practicing building things, figuring out how cloud security worked and that kind of thing. And then the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, we all got to work from home. It was pretty like a normal gig. Go to sleep, wake up, log in, just be present. But I wasn't really doing anything before, so I wasn't really doing anything now. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, I have a cushy salary, but I don't feel like I'm learning anything. And I didn't really delve into it. I was just like, it's fine. I guess this is what it feels like to be an adult. You have money and you have no one telling you what to do. The end. Wrong. So then, following the lockdown, we came back and one of the engineers just hightailed it, just dipped. Didn't really tell anyone where he was going. He just left. When he left, they kind of looked at the whole team and were like, who has the most bandwidth to be able to like cater to this thing. And sure enough, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Matthew Holland, ready and at attention, like, give me something to do. I want to work. I want to improve. I want to learn. I want to do all these things. Give me something. So they gave it to me. Well, it was more of I was kind of voluntold, you're going to take this, but I was fine with it because I was excited. Finally got to do something. As a junior employee, I manage a team of senior engineers that supported a multi-million-dollar software solution enterprise-wide. To this day, I thank the Lord for putting me in that situation. But in the moment, I was absolutely cursing his name. Like, it was one of the most difficult things that I ever done in my entire life. I got through it. I learned a ton about management and how to talk to people and how to explain technical things to non-technical people and how to keep senior leadership at bay so that the engineers can actually do their jobs and all these. Like, I learned a ton of different things. But if there's one thing that you can learn from my taking that job, I hope you will hear me right now. Do not build anything or purchase anything that does not directly solve a problem that you have. Do not build a solution, a tool. Don't buy anything unless you have a direct use case for the actual thing that you are about to invest time or money into. And now I'm pivoting once again to become my own boss because working for someone else is not what it's cracked up to be. So, if you so happen to be a tech type that likes coding and software development or building a SaaS and also want to learn more about the business side of things and not just, the tech side of things, join my Skool community. It's free to join and you can surround yourself by growth-minded individuals that are also builders just like you. So, this is day 6, Matthew Holland. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you tomorrow.